So this is the foolproof way to recycle your bad melodies. For me, it works like 100% of the time, because my thoughts are, if you've got like a bad melody, I think you just like need to change the way that you're approaching it, come at it from a different angle. I'm gonna purposely create like a bad kind of disjointed melody, and then I'll show you how I fix it. If you've got it in the right scale, this will work every time. So essentially, this melody doesn't really have like a rhythm to it. It's quite random, and that's not really what we're going for if we're trying to make like pop music, essentially. So this melody's not really making sense. My first approach, really, just to flip this whole thing, we can reuse it as a tonal or a textural part of our new melody. You can go for like reverb or delay, something to just like completely wash it out. Another good option you could go for is something like gross beat, or like I use Rhythmizer. I'm just trying to look for just tone and something that essentially I can use as like a background canvas. The other thing that you could do is add like a sequence to it, and that will essentially lock it into a rhythm that will make it a little bit easier for you to work with. So for example, so that's just making the melody a little bit more predictable and a little bit more repetitive, just a little bit more pleasing to the listener's ear. That's the first option. This is my second option. I'm going to go with like just like a stock reverb. I'm going to put the dry wet to 100% because all I want is just like this to be just smothered. We want the decay time to be like just maxed out, just so it's like a sustained kind of sound. So there you go. Now we're getting something that is like really easy to work with, and it's just basically a blank canvas for us to just like start painting more of like a foreground on and starting to develop an idea around. I'm feeling like I really like the sound of this, how sustained it is. I feel like it needs to be pitched down a little bit. It's maybe a little bit too bright. I want this to just be in the background, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to put Rhythmizer on it second, and I'm going to put it on halftime. So let's just freeze that into audio. All right, so here's our audio. I'm just going to chop off kind of like the more sustained part and get rid of the rest. And if you're feeling this is a little bit lifeless, what I like to do is go in and reach for Rhythmizer again, and we can do things like in this volume parameter, we can kind of like add like a gate to it. This is a preset that I use a lot. It's like a ramped gate. Just adds a nice rhythm to it. It's a really good starting point. So let's start to build around this. I'll show you how easy it can be. So we're starting off small. We've just got like a nice texture. Then we're building like a chord progression. It's just all sort of like teeing us up for the next step, which is like just adding the notes in the spaces there that we feel are lacking. Once I've got a basic foundation, all I'm listening for is what sounds a little bit stagnant. What can I exaggerate by using like delay, reverb, maybe saturation, distortion. Now that I've got this solid melody down, just playing around with elements, I just pitched up our initial like bad melody by an octave, and it just kind of like opened up the track. So So yeah, never underestimate like what you can do with any audio, just chucking it into some sort of effects and just kind of being fearless with it and just experimenting.